Hello guys, and welcome back to another skill point guide video for Total War Warhammer 3. Today, as you can probably tell, we will be going over Tyrion in the High Elf faction. Now Tyrion's a little bit different because he's the first lord in terms of a skill point guide video on the channel, where, as you can see here, when I hover over the Majesty of Ulthuan, it blocks out the bloodline of Aenarion skill tree. Now, because of that in the video, and he also has these dedications here as well that block out the others. Because of that, I will go through two different kind of like play modes you can kind of do as Tyrion, where you can just make him a single man killing machine, or you can kind of focus more on his faction effects there. So the first one I'm going to do is actually the faction effects, which is probably the one that I recommend doing mainly in your campaigns. He's already strong as is, and going down the bloodline of Aenarion isn't necessarily required to make him even stronger in melee. But without further ado, let's go down on what points I would recommend getting for Tyrion. Now the first, as usual, get Root Marcher. Again, you're going to hear that a lot in these videos. Campaign movement range is just fantastic when you're going through campaigns. Cannot underestimate campaign movement range and its effectiveness in your campaign. Definitely always get at least Root Marcher. And now the rest of the blue line is kind of up to you, but again, definitely get Root Marcher. Now Tyrion's a different one because he's not an actual spellcaster, he's just a melee lord. So next I would actually focus on buffing your army. Tyrion's faction, not his faction effects, but him personally, provides upkeep cost reduction for quite a few units, as well as recruit rank for Lothern Seaguard, which just makes them a little tankier. As you can see here, as I hover over the unit recruit rank, it gives, Lothern Seaguard more leadership, attack, melee defense, as well as accuracy there. So really, I would just recommend going down his red line here a little bit, because again, he already starts off as a very, very powerful melee fighter. These stats, for base stats for a lord, are just insane, especially considering the fact that he's armor piercing. It's not going to take much, whether it's an item or spending skill points, to make him almost unkillable, as you will see once we do end up putting points into the rest of his skill tree. But yeah, get Root Marcher, and then I would recommend going down as his red line. Usually I end up going through Bowmaster. Just gives more ammunition and reload time reduction for your missile units. So if we look at them now, they just have more ammunition, and their missile strength has been increased because of spending the skill points there.
Of Aenarion.
After that, though, really I kind of just make him a better fighter. Now you can finish the rest of his red line, but it's going to take a little bit before you end up basically getting your units to rank 7 or above to really get that extra missile strength of 12%, which that's great, but the other armor plus 10 and missile resistance plus 15% isn't that needed. So really, I would get Root Marcher, get Bowmaster, and then I believe it's rank 10 is when you unlock the Majesty of Ulthuan, which, if we hover over that, the Majesty of Ulthuan isn't that great, but it's the other skill points that you unlock because of it. You get control all provinces +1, diplomatic relations with High Elves +20, which is really good, especially because the High Elves utilize the influence mechanics, so it can make it really easy to confederate with other High Elven factions in the game, which, of all the factions or races actually in Warhammer, the High Elves probably benefit the most from Confederation, in my opinion, just because of the quality and also number of legendary lords that they have within their race in the game. So really good way to get confederations going early on, as well as providing some extra public order. Sense of Urgency is a fantastic ability. Reduces the recruitment cost, by 10% for all your armies. Also reduces the global recruitment duration of units by 1, which is really good for units if we go into in camp stance, just so we could globally recruit. You can see here now that I can globally recruit these units in 1 turn instead of 2. Basically, whatever you're able to recruit, like locally, if I take them out here,
Following your order.
so this is what you can recruit locally. Whatever the amount of time it tells you it's going to take to do locally, it's double that in global.
Preparing
So
fire.
because of that, instead of 2 turns, it's now 1. So we could get, you know, what, 7 units here, and just makes his army that much stronger there. Granted, you won't be able to do that right away, but that's just for demonstration purposes there. The last one, Righteous Cause, is really good. Just helps upkeep, cost reduction of 10%, as well as corruption -10 in the local province. Just fantastic faction-wide bonuses for your faction as a whole when playing as Tyrion. Really, really good. Just really, like, compared to the Bloodline of Aenarion, if you want a stronger campaign, this is the route that I would go there. Now after that, because he's only a melee focused lord, after getting Root Marcher, Bowmaster, and then the Majesty of Ulthuan, excuse me, and the Unifier and the rest of the skill points here, really it's just kind of up to you, because you can't really go wrong. These dedications to the different, like, gods of the High Elven race just really depends what units do you feel like recruiting. You know, do you want Phoenix Guard? Do you want Sword Masters of Hoeth, Dragon Princes, you know, White Lions, whatever it may be, it has something here for you there. Now, because he buffs Larthan Seaguard really well, I would probably recommend doing the dedication to Mathland. Provides more upkeep cost reduction, provides him with more melee defense, and also leadership for your units, and income from ports 1%. But it really just depends. You could just say screw it and get the campaign movement range, get the casualty replenishment rate. It really all just depends you personally on which one you want to get here. For the video's sake, I'll just get the one for Larthan Seaguard, because why not? But then really after that, again, it's up to you. I usually end up putting in a few points into Merchant Lord, because as a High Elves, you probably will have a good trading economy. Excuse me, and this will just increase the amount of resources that you will be able to produce, which means that you have more resources to then sell. But definitely go down his melee line. I mean, why not? If we end up seeing all of his stats increase as I'm spending points, it's just absolutely insane. Woundmaker lets him hit even harder, give him more armor, because why not? More melee defense, more speed, and then also it gives him a good battle ability here, even more melee defense, more melee attack, and also physical resistance for 28 seconds once he's actually in a fight. So fantastic. I mean, these are just his base stats without any magic items. Doesn't have any of his special weapon items that you can get doing various quests in the campaign. Just really strong melee fighter there. Tyrion is arguably one of the best in the game and can pretty much take on anybody that you may encounter. Definitely recommend getting the Speed of Tyrion. It's good for, I mean, speed, but also melee defense. More missile resistance for him. Spell resistance is all nice and dandy. And then definitely, I mean, at this point, I would even finish out his red line. You'll probably at that point in the campaign gotten some stronger units. You may have gotten some Phoenix Guard. You may have gotten some Dragons or Phoenixes. And really then it just kind of depends what you end up going with. Typically, I end up giving him, because he does utilize missile units so well, I usually end up giving him some spearman units, whether it's Silverian Guard, or you end up going down the Master Strategist with Phoenix Guard. It really just is personal preference what you do with there. The reason I do the combined elites and go Spearman or Silverian Guard is just because it's easier to get them earlier on in your campaign. Phoenix Guard is a tier 5 unit, whereas the Silverian Guard is a very tanky unit, and you can get them at tier 3, and you'll get them much sooner than you will the Phoenix Guard in your campaign. And then just wrapping up, we still have 11 points to spend. At this point, it really just becomes personal preference. So for that, excuse me, I just ended up doing the immovable force and favorable winds just to make the units in my armies even stronger. More melee defense, weapon strength, and spell resistance for my melee infantry. More missile strength, resistance, and armor for my missile units. Stand your ground, excuse me. More leadership, more melee defense for all units in a range, making him even stronger. And then to wrap up, I usually end up actually doing the mentor ability. That way, later on in the campaign, when you're recruiting lords at lower rank, they just rank up that much faster as you progress with them in the stages of your campaign. And then also, just because research rate is really good to get, because if we look at the tech tree here, they have a pretty lengthy tech tree that takes a lot of time to recruit everything. So increasing the research rate is a very good thing, just because it'll reduce your research times. But yeah, that is how I would level up Tyrion, assuming you're going down the Majesty of Ulthuan route. Now it's a little different, which won't take as long if we end up going down the Bloodline of Aenarion. We'll reset his skills here just to show you what I would do. But basically, you just ignore the red line because you're just making him a one-man killing machine. So I would go down Root Marcher, go down his melee line, don't even touch his red line, because you are essentially becoming evil. You are going full Anakin Skywalker. You are betraying everything you actually believe in as Tyrion, because you just want to become a one-man killing machine. So if we look at the Bloodline of Aenarion, at the cost of control, faction-wide and also in the local province, you give yourself more melee attack and weapon strength, more leadership, weapon strength, a bonus versus large, charge bonus, gives yourself fear, more hit points, and physical resistance. So you can see you make Tyrion an extremely powerful lord, even more so. And this is again without any items, without any of his special weapons, and look at those stats. That is just insane. After that, I would honestly just go down his blue line, because again, you're not going to probably benefit from having a army at this point in this stage, because again, going down the Bloodline of Aenarion, you're probably thinking you're going to pick up the Sword of Cain anyway, which you won't need a army when you have the Sword of Cain, basically for any lord, but especially as Tyrion. So grabbing Merchant Lord, again, just to help with trade, grabbing some control to offset all the negatives of the abilities that you're picking up here can help offset that. Draft Master, just to unlock the rest of the blue line here. But Elven Scholar, just to get that research rate and magic item drop chance. Elven Healing, because why not? Renowned and Feared, more upkeep cost reduction, campaign movement range, all good things. Weary, make himself more defensive against ambushes. And then after that, honestly, for the dedications, I would get the dedicated to, I think I'm pronouncing it correctly, is Hukon, just for the campaign movement range. Still get the mentor ability, because again, you still want to be sharing some of that experience once you do hit rank 50 with your other lords, or else it will just completely go to waste. And then your last point, why not reduce recruitment costs just a little further in case you want to recruit him. Actually, probably end up going down Quartermaster, but for the sake of it, we'll just do the bonded service. But really, think of it this way: the Majesty of Ulthuan is if you want an army and to make your overall faction and campaign stronger. Bloodline and Aenarion if you just want to go full evil and just kill a bunch of things there. But anyway, that is Tyrion. Now, again, it is the first video where you kind of, once you pick some skills, it does lock some other ones out. So let me know down in the comments what route you guys end up going. If you prefer one route over the other, what dedication to which god you prefer over the other. Just because I would enjoy hearing your guys' feedback as to why you think one is better, or which one may be worse than the other, or whatever reason you may have. I'm interested in learning about that. But don't forget to hit that like button, comment down below as well if you enjoyed the video, if I missed anything in terms of explanation or what you'd like to see me do next in a video. And I will see you guys again for the next live stream or the next video on the channel. And until then, have a good one, and I will see you later. Bye.